Greetings everyone, Salem the Cat here with another Halloween movie review. Tonight we're watching a 90s Disney classic. No, I'm not talking about Halloween Town. Bones will cover that in another video. I'm talking about Hocus Pocus, a film loved by many millennial Halloween fans. It was released in the summer of 1993 so that it wouldn't be competing with The Nightmare Before Christmas, another Disney-owned Halloween film also released in 1993. I agree with Bones that Nightmare should have been released in December and Hocus Pocus in October, but that's what happens when a mouse runs things. But the movie came out when it did, and honestly it gained more popularity over time rather than instantly. But does it deserve its high praise from millennials, or is it pure nostalgia for the 90s? Let's find out. The film opens with whimsical music that suddenly feels like the movie is sprinting as we get to the opening credits. Well, it does get you into the mood for this movie that you're in for. We then meet Thackeray Binks, a teenage boy who wakes up to see his little sister Emily being lured away by a witch. The movie wastes no time getting into the backstory and introducing our main villains, the Sanderson sisters. We have Sarah, the youngest, who's also a ditzy hoe, Mary, the middle sister, who has the power to sense nearby children, and the oldest sister, Winifred, played by longtime acting veteran Bette Midler.
Oh, look. Another glorious morning. Makes me sick.
You and me both, Winnie. As you can figure out by looking at them, the witches want to restore their youth by draining the life force out of poor little Emily. Big Brother Binks tries to save her, but Winnie is much too powerful to be thwarted by a 17th century teenager. Unfortunately, this means the witches succeed in draining Emily and restoring their youth. Well, to a point. At least enough to give hair and makeup department an easier time. Winnie decides to punish Binks for interfering by making him live forever, knowing that he failed to save his sister. But not as a human, as a CGI black cat! Well, sometimes CGI. It's a real cat for some wide shots, but CGI for the close-ups where he's talking. The CGI does look pretty 90s, but it's not bad. Unfortunately for the Sanderson sisters, a friend of Binks ran to get help from the rest of the villagers who show up in full angry mob fashion. When they're about to be hanged, Winnie casts a spell for being brought back to life in the future.
One All Hallows Eve when the moon is round, a virgin will summon us from under the ground. We shall be back.
Ew! I know they don't actually show them being hanged, but somehow what they did show is still brutal for a Disney movie. But by the time we fast forward to present day, by which I mean 1993, we the audience know enough about the impending threat on the horizon for this Halloween. But of course our main character has to be a Halloween heathen.
But everyone here knows that Halloween was invented by the candy companies. It's a conspiracy.
Next he's gonna tell us that the earth is flat and that wearing a face mask equals oppression. This is Max Dennison. Our first impression of him is that he's crushing on a girl who's into Halloween, and he hails from sunny California. He's feeling like a fish out of water, though, as demonstrated by our two stereotypical 90s bullies.
Oh, dude. Tubular. This is ice.
Hey kids, remember when Vanilla Ice had a career? Max runs home understandably in a bad mood, but he finds comfort in a pillow.
Oh, Allison. You're so soft.
Okay, this is making me uncomfortable.
Danny!
Phew! Thank you, annoying little sister Ex Machina. Max now has to take his little sister Danny trick-or-treating, and that goes about as well as you'd expect when Bulk and Skull show up again. Despite that conflict, though, we do get a good glimpse of a genuine sibling bond between Danny and Max that shows some of the heart of this Halloween movie. Sibling love is a reoccurring theme throughout the film, and that becomes more and more clear as you watch. The two of them then meet Allison at her parents' Halloween party that looks like something out of a political cartoon about the 1%. As a fun Halloween activity, Max suggests that the three of them stroll over to the Sanderson Museum to see if Allison can make him believe in this holiday. Because every spooky tale begins with kids sneaking into a haunted house. Allison finds Winnie's spell book while Max finds the black flame candle, a cursed object that can bring the witches back to life only when lit by a virgin on Halloween night. Of course, conspiracy theorist Max has to light the candle, thinking the whole thing is...
It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
The witches come back and immediately set their sights on draining Danny, an obvious parallel to the start of the movie with Max trying to save her, but this time there are reinforcements in the form of a girl with a frying pan, and of course, a talking cat!
Nice going, Max.
You can talk.
Yeah, no kidding.
While the witches are distracted by what they think is acid rain, Max steals the spell book and Binks leads them to a graveyard to give them some much needed exposition. When the witches fail to catch the kids because the graveyard is hallowed ground where the witches can't set foot on, Winnie explains some more exposition about how they're on a time limit tonight.
The magic that brought us back only works tonight on All Hallows Eve. When the sun comes up, we're dust. We must find the book, brew the potion, and suck the lives out of the children of Salem before sunrise. Otherwise, it's curtains.
Oh, Bette Midler, you're a Halloween treasure. So instead of flying on their brooms to look for our heroes, they stumble upon a bus, and this bus driver is way too excited.
Nancy, we desire children.
Hey, that may take me a couple of tries, but I don't think that'd be a problem.
Is it just me, or is there a lot of vaguely sexual humor in this movie?
What do you call them, Max? Yabos? Max likes her yabos. In fact, he loves them. What are you supposed to be?
Madonna.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah.
Really?
Look, I'll get it tattooed on my forehead, okay?
Rated PG! What follows is a series of Halloween hijinks as the kids look for anyone who can help them, and the witches search for them but are tricked left and right by people in costumes. Winnie summons her old boyfriend as a zombie to hunt down the kids too, but he's more useless than either of the sisters. The hijinks lead to some pretty funny scenes, and honestly the ones with the witches are usually funnier than the ones with the kids. When looking for police help fails, the kids naturally look for their parents at a local Halloween party. Of course, this fails too. But just as Max tries to expose all the witches to every parent in Salem, Winnie turns the exposure into a Halloween show!
I put a spell on you, and now you're gone. My planet fell on you.
This is one of the best and most iconic scenes in the whole movie. It's just a fun number. Perhaps it's better because unlike most Disney movies, this one is not a musical, so it's entertaining and not annoying. But after this show, our heroes come up with a way to dispatch the witches first by luring them into their school.
Ajax! Get him!
I love the walk they do. They lure them into this giant oven using a French lesson cassette. Wait, does every school just have a giant oven in it? This is a Disney movie? But with the witches burned to a crisp, our heroes celebrate and enjoy some more heart-to-heart moments together. It's happily ever after! Just kidding, the witches survive the burning because they're immortal until sunrise. They capture Danny and Binks and begin luring victims to their home. Oh no! They even captured Bulkin's skull! Max and Allison arm themselves with salt, rescue Danny and Binks, and Max spills the potion to foil the evil plot. This leaves enough potion left for only one child. Now, here's where things get a little problematic. Winnie pursues Danny because she called her ugly, thus making the whole conflict personal. Winnie could have easily drained any of the kids that were lured over and then gone after Danny after becoming fully immortal, but instead she uses up her time chasing our heroes, leading us into the final confrontation where inevitably the villains will lose. First, we get a nice twist from the zombie.
Wench! Trollop! You buck-toothed, mop-rimed firefly from hell!
So, yay! Billy's on our side! I'm sure this will give us a great advantage! But just when it looks like Danny is finished, Binks and Max run in to save the day, with Max going so far as to offer himself in his sister's place. Fortunately, even with the power of the witches, our heroes manage to drag the fight out long enough for the sun to finally come up, and Thanos snapped the witches away. Well, that was Hocus Pocus. Is it dated? Well, in many ways, yes. Is it still a classic? Duh! Sure, the movie has a lot of predictable cliches and a few other flaws, but even with those, it's still a great Halloween movie. It's not trying to be some dark, serious horror flick. Even with the more emotional moments it does have, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's almost as if the witches know they're in a Disney movie, so they purposely play things up. The side characters are pretty one-dimensional, but the main ones are way more dynamic, and they go through real character arcs affected by this whimsical and spooky adventure. They grow as people, and their bonds become stronger. Binks in particular brings a lot of great wisdom and humor to the film, and I'm not just saying that because of any obvious bias or anything. Overall, it's still one of the best Halloween flicks out there. If you liked this review, check out some of our previous reviews, such as the Halloween episodes of my show, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or Bones' review of Casper, a film made by Disney's rivals at Universal Pictures. If you're new, subscribe to Halloween Central for more Halloween videos including reviews, holiday history, travel vlogs, different ways to celebrate, and more. I'm Salem the Cat. Good night.